What's up YouTube, and here is a video I'm going to show you of a Jinzo 2020 deck profile from yours truly, the Shadowgameduelist. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the video right below. And here we will go, opening into a new 2020 Jinzo deck. Okay, so I wanted to stay competitive in the current meta for the Jinzo deck, but I didn't want to use all new school cards. So how did I decide to do this? Well, it's quite simple, guys. I'm going to start this video by obviously running 3 copies of Jinzo. Jinzo is our boss monster, okay? So Jinzo prevents trap cards. Now, I understand traps aren't ran as heavy now as they used to be, but at the same time, it's a great effect to have. People still do run stuff like Compulse and, you know, try to bring stuff back to the hand. So it's great just to have this card, period. And I think it's an excellent boss monster, and I think it's going to go really good in the deck because this is really a lockdown deck, but Jinzo is the core and the heart of this deck. Next, we'll go into 2 copies of Invader of Darkness, which will be the last 2 boss monsters we'll have in this deck. Invader of Darkness prevents your opponent from using spell speed to spell cards, or quick play spell cards for that, okay guys? So a lot of people like to run Book of Moon, MSTs, they like to run Mask Change, Super Poly, depending on the deck, you know, heck, even Shrink, I think, you know, I mean, it is what it is. And so you shut down the traps, you shut down the speed 2s. These cards go really good together, and it's a different version of a lockdown. 2900 attack, it's a pretty good card, guys. Okay, next I'm going to go into some more of the monster cards. I'm going to run 3 copies of Battle Fader. You got a level 8 monster in your Invader of Darkness, and you have a level 6 in your Jinzo. So, you know, this card's really good for just ending the battle phase, but it's also good for being able to have on the field when you end the battle phase in your next turn to be able to summon Jinzo or be able to help you summon the Invader of Darkness. So I run 3 copies of Battle Fader. Not only that, but you know, if you need that draw really quick, it's there for you guys. And next I will be running 2 Lightning Rod Lord, okay? So they're 4 stars apiece. It kind of helps with the 1 card we have in our extra deck. But what it does is, essentially your opponent cannot run spell cards on their main phase 1. So people that like to do stuff like, you know, they like to sit there and Dark Hole in the first phase or something in that manner, it really just kind of shuts that down. In other words, it really kind of cripples into their game plan. It's an 1800 attack monster, and it's just a good extra card to have in the deck. I mean, it also helps you if you need it for a sacrificial summon, you know. But then you run 2 copies of Misjudge. Misjudge is a fun card to have in the deck. I like it. You, your opponent, can flip a coin. Your opponent can flip twice, or you can flip twice. And what its effect does is, when you flip those coins, it pretty much prevents your opponent from using effects if you get 2 heads. So a lot of the meta today, a lot of things like Light Sworn, Flower Guardian, Monarch, they revolve off the effect of a monster. And so what's really great about this is they try to activate a special summoning ability. Next thing you know, they're flipping a coin and you're negating the special summon that they needed to the field, which can heavily prevent stuff like them running into a Synchro or a XYZ or anything of that sort, or Fusion. It really just helps all together. So, I mean, it's a great card to have in the deck, and it's a 4-star, and it's a light. And then we run, you know, I'm kind of old school, and I like to see different stuff. I like my deck to be different than everybody's, and I thought this was a great card. I run 2 copies of Hyro Shadow Scout. So people that, you know, run a lot of spell cards to help beef up their deck, this is really going to help you out some. I mean, it is going to give them drawing ability, and if you're running against like an Exodia deck, I don't recommend this card. But say you're running against a hero deck or a chaos deck, anti-meta, and you don't want them using spell cards. It's a great card to have. It's a 2-star monster. You set it, it flip effects, and the flip effect is they draw 3 cards, and if any of them happen to be spell cards, they go to the graveyard, and yeah, they do get to keep the cards in their hand, but it's really good for shutting something like that down, because it's really just kind of helping get rid of some of those spell cards that a lot of people overrun. Next, I'm going to go into 1 copy of Drallago. It's a machine. It's 1600. As long as the monster on your opponent's side of the field is 1600 or more, which most of the time nowadays it is, you can attack directly to their life points. And it really goes good with some of the spells we have. And then I go into a Jack Wyvern. Jack Wyvern's 1800 attack. It's also a 4-star monster. And Jack Wyvern's going to pretty much give you the ability to sacrifice him and a machine monster like Drallago or Jinzo and bring out a dark monster from the graveyard. You know, you could use Drallago to bring out Jinzo, or you can use Jinzo and get rid of him and Jack Wyvern and pretty much bring out your Invader of Darkness. So then the next monster is a Magician of Fate. If you need that extra spell card out the grave, it's a great light flip effect, and it really helps you out with that. And then the next card we go into is a Marsh Milan. It's a great tribute card. It's a great way to burn your opponent for 1,000 life points. And pretty much, if you need an extra couple turns, because this deck does not have a lot of draw power yet again, it helps you, you know, stall, maybe even for a turn or two, because a lot of people can get this card off the field, but it's just great to have. At least have a copy of it. Then I run a copy of Dark Jeroid, just in case your opponent tries to boss up his monsters really quickly. It pretty much, it lowers them by 800. So if they have a Blue Eyes and it's 3 grand and my Jinzo's facing down that Blue Eyes, this is a great card to lower that Blue Eyes to 2200, guys, as long as that Blue Eyes remains on the field. And even if this card's off the field, it's still at 2200. It's just a great card to lower the attack of a monster that's trying to boss over maybe Jinzo or something. And then I run 1 copy, which is the only copy that's not a light or dark in this deck, of Penguin Soldier. And I like it because it's like a compulse in a way, because when it is pretty much flipped and attacked, you can send 2 cards from the field to the owner's hand pretty much, and you could do that to your opponent. If they got 2 boss monsters, put them things back in the hand. Maybe the duel hasn't quite went your way. This can be the card that saves your duel. And I mean, it's just a great card, especially a fusion monster. Okay, so without further ado, now I'm going to get into the spell cards. Okay, so for starters, I run 2 copies of Amplifier. Amplifier allows you to summon trap cards while Jinzo and activate them while Jinzo. You can summon them, but activate them while Jinzo's on the field. I don't run 3 because you don't want to get hand trapped with this card. But by running 2 of these, we do run a few traps, so it really does help to have this card in the deck. And you can run traps when Jinzo's not on the field, but your goal is to get him on the field. So this is really a helpful card here. Okay, next, I run 3 copies of Cost Down, which really goes in well with Battle Fader, because say you have a Battle Fader and you cost down, you tribute a card from your hand to the grave, and then you can automatically summon your Invader of Darkness, because it drops the level of monster in your hand by 2 stars, allowing you to summon it. So you could do it automatically with Jinzo by tributing a card to the grave. You can tribute the Invader of Darkness, bring it back, and have it on the field with a Jinzo, which is a great strategy here. So, you know, you got your 3 cost downs, you got your 2 amplifiers. Now I run 2 copies of Double Summon. Double Summon's also another way to help summon cards. So it allows you to normal summon twice in the same turn. You don't want to run 3 copies because, like I said, again, I'm trying not to get hand trapped, and we already have those Battle Faders, we already have those cost downs, but it's just a great addition just in case, you know, you need to run into the right card. It helps you get 2 monsters onto the field, or a monster and a tribute. Or if you have a monster, you get another monster and then tribute both. So it's really just a great card to have in the deck because there's not a lot of special summoning in this deck. Okay, so then I run 2 copies of Limiter Removal, and I run 2 copies of 7 Complete. Limiter removal pretty much doubles the attack of all your machines on the field, and 7 complete makes them gain 700 attack points, which is a really great deal because you can run Dralago at 1600. He can attack directly. You power him up with a 7 complete, because I have done this before. Make him 2300, then 4600 with one limiter removal. Run a second, double the attack, and go for game. Or double limiter removal on a Jinzo, or a 7 complete limiter removal Jinzo, and go for game that way. And they can't activate trap cards on you, so you're really flying ahead right there. I mean, it's just a great combination, I think. And so for the singles we got in the spell cards, we have a single copy of Monster Reborn. It is limited, but say you throw that Invader of Darkness in the graveyard by using a cost down, now you can bring it right back to the field right beside your Jinzo that you just summoned with a cost down. Then I run one copy of Raigeki. It's a great card to have, especially depending on the deck you are facing, because some card decks rely off their grades. But this is a great card just simply to be able to take care of monsters on your opponent's side of the field depending on the type of deck they're running. And it is limited to one copy. Now I run a copy of Card Destruction. Card Destruction is a great card to have, since, like I said, you don't have a whole lot of draw power in this deck. It pretty much allows you to be able to get rid of your hand and draw a new hand. And that's just great. It is limited, but say you got one good card in your hand, you want to play it face down, or you want to set it. Then you say, okay, well, I need to draw these cards to get it. Well, there you go. We're running a 41 card deck, so if you discard 4 cards, that's 4 cards you don't have to worry about. And maybe you want to get a card in the graveyard. Maybe you just set a Monster Reborn and you want to get one of those cards in the graveyard, take it right out and summon it to the field. I mean, there's a lot you can do with this card destruction in this deck. I mean, that's just one of the things. And then I run a copy of Brain Control because, look, take control of their monster. Use their monster, sacrifice it. I mean, it does cost you 800 life points, but summon your Jinzo. Or maybe you have a monster and you want to summon the Invader of Darkness. Or maybe they have a boss monster and you can go for game. It's just a great card to have sitting around in this deck. Then I run a copy of Prohibition. Prohibition, you name the name of one card, and that card cannot be summoned as long as this card is on the field. And it is a continuous. So therefore, if they have a great card in their deck and you know their deck a little bit, or you have an idea of what they run in their deck, you can call that card out and just keep them from even using it. You can call out that Judgment Dragon, or you can call out that Elemental Hero Stratos, or you can call out the Dark Magician, or whoever, Blue Eyes Chaos Max, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to run, you can call that card out and it can't be summoned as long as that card is on the field. Okay, so now getting into the traps on this. This is really kind of creative. I run 2 copies here of Recall. And so what Recall does is, when your opponent activates a card effect, which a lot of cards use effects, it is a spell speed 3, by the way. So it can only be chained with a 3, guys. And when they activate a card effect, destroy that card and they draw a card. And a lot of cards rely off their special summons due to card effects. That's a great way to shut it down, and that's one reason we run those amplifiers. Next, I run a copy of Solemn Strike, which is great because when a monster will be special summon or a monster effect is activated, you can pay 1,500 life points, which is a small cost, and negate the activation or the special summon and destroy that card. And it's a spell speed 3. And these are really big, guys. We don't run many traps, but we do want to be powerful with them. Okay, now I run something a lot of people don't run, and I guess it's a forgotten card, but I do run a fake trap, because when they target, you have to set your trap cards onto the field. So when they target that trap card, it's a great way, guys, for you to activate this card and use this as the target instead. So if they do end up, if you don't have an Invader of Darkness out, guys, and they MST, they can MST this card, and you can keep this card on the field. And because this card may not be useful right at the moment, you got to still remember that, guys. Even though it's a spell speed 3, you have to have a purpose for it. So Fake Trap's a great card to have. And then lastly, I run a card called Witch's Strike. And Witch's Strike essentially